Have you ever wanted a houseplant that delivers that big, lush, tropical vibe but doesn't come with a high-maintenance attitude? Well, you have come to the right place. Today, we are diving deep into the world of the dumb cane, a stunning plant that has a fascinating and, yeah, a slightly dangerous secret. We're going to cover everything you need to know to make this plant look amazing in your home. So let's just bust a common myth right out of the gate. You see these huge, gorgeous, patterned leaves, and you immediately think, oh man, that's going to be a ton of work, right? But as plant expert Anastasia Remislow points out, it's actually surprisingly forgiving, and that makes it a fantastic pick whether this is your first plant or your 50th. So what is this plant, really? Well, its scientific name is Dieffenbachia, and it comes from the tropical rainforests of Central and South America. Now that origin story, that is the single biggest clue you need for its care. It loves warmth, it loves humidity, and it loves that kind of filtered, dappled light you'd find on a jungle floor. Now, let's talk about that name, dumb cane. It's not just some cutesy nickname, it's a straight-up warning. The sap in this plant has these tiny toxic crystals, and if they're ingested, they can cause some serious swelling in your mouth and throat, literally making it impossible to speak. So the takeaway here is simple, but it is so crucial. Handle it with care, always wear gloves when you're pruning it, and keep it far away from curious pets and kids. Okay, here is our game plan for today. We're going to start by getting to know the plant. Then we'll hit the big three of care: light, water, and soil. After that, we'll get into how to make it thrive, how to propagate it, troubleshoot common issues, and we'll wrap up with some pro tips. Let's get into it. All right, first up, let's get properly introduced to this leafy superstar. I mean, look at it. Those big, variegated leaves are exactly what make it such a statement piece, no matter what room you put it in. So here's the lowdown. You might see it called tropic snow or leopard lily. It's considered easy to care for, which is great. It grows pretty fast to a very manageable 3 to 5 feet, and it can live for up to 10 years inside. And get this, it's not just a pretty face. It is an amazing air purifier, known for literally filtering common household toxins right out of the air you breathe. Okay, let's dig into the foundation of care. Seriously, if you can just nail these next 3 things, light, water, and soil, you are 90% of the way there. This is most of the battle right here. This is probably the #1 question people have. Where in the world do I put this thing? And the answer is so important for keeping those beautiful patterns on the leaves looking sharp and vibrant. This sweet spot is bright, but indirect light. Think about light filtering through jungle canopy. That's the vibe you're going for. An east-facing window is pretty much perfect. Or maybe a spot a few feet back from a sunnier window. Direct sun? Absolutely not. It will scorch the leaves, just avoid it. And yeah, it'll tolerate lower light, but you'll notice it grows way slower, and it might start to lose some of that beautiful pattern. All right, next up is the big one, watering. This is where most plant parents, new and old, tend to go wrong. Your goal is to keep the soil consistently moist, but never, ever soggy. There's a big difference. So, how do you know what your plant is trying to tell you? Well, the leaves give you clues. Yellowing leaves usually means too much water. Brown, crispy edges, probably not enough. But here's the tricky one. Drooping leaves can mean either. That's why the finger test is your absolute best friend. You have to stick your finger in the top inch or 2 of soil. If it feels dry, then it's time to water. Simple as that. The last piece of our core trio is the soil. This plant absolutely hates wet feet, so drainage is everything. A standard potting mix will do, but you can really supercharge it by adding some perlite or orchid bark to get more airflow to the roots. If you want to go the extra mile, mix up equal parts peat moss, perlite, and pine bark. This is your best defense against the #1 killer of houseplants, root rot. Okay, so your plant is surviving. That's fantastic. But now let's talk about making it truly thrive. These next steps are going to take your dumb cane from just hanging on to putting out massive, beautiful new leaves. Think of fertilizer as a vitamin boost, but only during the spring and summer when it's actively growing. A balanced liquid feed every few weeks is perfect. Now the key here, and this is super important, is to always dilute it to half strength and only apply it to soil that's already moist. Never fertilize dry soil. You'll burn the roots. Remember its tropical home? This plant likes to be warm and likes humidity. Standard room temperature is usually fine, but you've got to keep it away from cold drafts, like from an open window or an AC vents. Those sudden changes can really stress it out and make it drop its leaves. If your house is on the dry side, especially in the winter, misting the leaves or using a pebble tray can make a world of difference. Next up, let's chat about managing your plant's growth and, honestly, the best part, making new plants for free. Propagating a dumb cane is way easier than you might think. Every year or two, your plant's going to need a bigger home. Repotting is pretty straightforward. The trick is to only go 1 to 2 inches wider with the new pot. If you go too big, the soil can stay wet for too long, which we don't want. Just follow these simple steps, and your plant will reward you with a big burst of new growth. This is one of the most satisfying things you can do as a plant owner. You just snip off a piece of the stem, pull off the bottom leaves, and stick it in a glass of water. In a few weeks, you'll start to see little white roots emerging. It's that easy. Just remember our warning from the beginning, right? Wear gloves when you take that cutting. Look, even with the absolute best care, you might run into an issue. It happens. So think of this section as your plant's first aid kit. We'll help you quickly figure out what's wrong and how to fix it. This chart is basically your quick reference guide. See some yellow leaves? Check your watering habits. Are the edges getting brown and crispy? It's probably thirsty for more humidity. Is it getting all tall and spindly? It's literally stretching for more light. And if it suddenly drops a bunch of leaves, look around for a draft. Learning to read these signs is the key to understanding what your plant needs. All right, we have covered a ton of ground. Let's wrap it all up with a couple of rapid-fire pro tips to really take your dumb cane care to the next level. Here's a super simple one that makes a huge difference. Plants naturally grow towards their light source. So giving your dumb cane a little quarter turn every week or so will help it grow straight and full on all sides instead of looking like the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Those giant, beautiful leaves, they're total dust magnets. Wiping them down with a damp cloth isn't just to make them look shiny, it actually lets the plant breathe better and absorb more light for photosynthesis. Plus, it's the perfect time to inspect the undersides of the leaves for any sneaky pests. So there you have it, the dumb cane, a gorgeous, forgiving, air-purifying machine. It is the perfect plant if you want to make a big statement without a lot of fuss. The only question left is, now that you know its toxic little secret, are you ready to handle it? Thanks for tuning into this explainer.